Today's episode is going to be all about the pod. There's a lot of reasons why someone might want to start a podcast, and what does it really take to start a pod? For starters, the equipment. So 4 microphones with the stand, $800. The camera was the biggest investment, $1,000. When people ask me what my hobbies are, like, this is my hobby. This is what I do with all of my free time. This is where my brain goes with all of my free time. Because if you don't believe in it, nobody will. I'm so proud of what I've created, and it's helped my mental so much. Hey y'all, it's Regan. Welcome back to another episode of the Deep Clean Edit. Today's episode is going to be all about the pod, all about how to start a podcast, all about where you should start, all about why I started and why you should start. There's so many benefits to this little pod that we have. I love our little pod. I love our little community. I love when people tell me that they watch our episodes or that they got advice for something, or just like, it's just so amazing to hear the support from people who actually watch us. And I just want to say how grateful I am for all of you who tune in and watch and respond to our messages and DM us. And it's just so fantastic. It's so amazing. It's so much fun. There's a lot of reasons why someone might want to start a podcast. It might be they're looking for fame, they're looking to trauma dump, they're looking for community, side hustle. For me, I just started it because I had a lot of free time. I live in Arizona, and the summers here are pretty bland. The summers are pretty dead just because of how hot it is. And I had a lot of free time with my previous job in the summer, and I wanted to get my creative juices flowing. I wanted to have an outlet to let my creative ideas flow. And this is where my ideas landed. It landed on this pod, and there's nothing that brings me more joy than setting up everything and making sure the camera's ready and the lighting's ready and editing on my computer and making the outline for this week's episode and talking with Maddie and Jayla about what should we talk about, what series should we do, what game should we play. Like, I truly have so much fun. I love it. I love every second of it. There's so many different avenues of a podcast you can take too, whether it's like more like our format where it's just like we chit chat, we talk about life, we talk about men, we talk about struggles, but then there's podcasts that are very informational, which are probably the podcasts I listen to most. There's podcasts that are all about God and religion, which are also on my top listens. There's podcasts about very niche things. Like if you look up Cozy Up with Regan and Friends on YouTube, the first thing that's going to pop up is Cozy Up Knits. It's a bunch of ladies who just like to knit, and they have a podcast about knitting. And podcasts are just so versatile and so fun, and they're truly so easy to get started. It doesn't take much. I mean, truly, if you wanted to, you could sit down with your iPhone camera and maybe a headphone set and start talking, and people will listen. Not everyone's going to listen, but people will listen, and the people who you want to listen are the ones you want listening. There's good things and bad things. I think the red flags are if you are doing it only for status or for clout or to get famous, because moral of the story is like the chances of you becoming famous off a podcast are really slim. I mean, there's people who do it and make millions and make a career out of it, but like you can't go into it with that mindset because you'll drive yourself crazy. You also can't expect instant growth. Instant growth does not happen. We've been doing this for 2 years, and we have the tiniest, cutest little community, and I love every single one of you. But it's so exciting when like once a week we get a new follower, and that's one follower a week, and that's one more person that we get to listen to our info. Or it's just like, it's a slow progression, and it's like beautiful in its own way, because it's like those little tiny what's the word? Not milestones, but those little tiny breakthroughs or those little tiny moments are what makes it so fun. And then also like a red flag, or maybe not a red flag, but maybe a con of a podcast is the amount of time and effort you do have to put in. Like, for you who are watching, it looks like I just sit down and there's a microphone here and I just talk and then we just move about our day and that's it. But there's a lot of effort and a lot of things that go on with this pod. And that's what I want to get into is what does it really take to start a pod, or what did we do to start this pod? Or there's so many little tiny things that you wouldn't think about. So let's break it down. For starters, the equipment. So I have a microphone. I have 4 beautiful Rode microphones with the stand. We're going to do prices. We're going to be fully transparent. So 4 microphones with the stand, $800 investment. Then we have our Zoom pod track, which is on the floor down here. That has all of our settings. It has our dials for the microphone. It has the volume. It has noise cancellation. It has sounds. It gives us like it's like it has like dials to see like how high you're speaking or how low the volume is. It picks all that up. $100. Then what you guys, the camera. The camera was the biggest investment. I want to say that was another $1,000. Then you think camera good to go, but then you need a tripod, $60. Then you think you're good, but oh shoot, the microphone head jack doesn't reach from you to me. So then you need a cord. And then you need a splitter because you got 3 microphones, so $20. Then you need a dummy battery because the dummy battery is essential, because if you put a normal battery that you would like charge like a typical camera, that's going to die after a 20-minute episode. So we have a dummy battery. Then we have lights. We started off with 2 small lights, but the lighting was bad, so then we got 2 diffusers. So now I have 4 lights in front of me. And those all together was probably $250. Then we got equipment out of the way, but then you have the set. So it doesn't look like much, but I'm in a nice fluffy white chair, and then I have another fluffy white chair for Jaya and a fluffy white chair for Maddie, altogether about $200. Then I have this beautiful nightstand table, $150. Then you have little things like the lamp and the art and the plant. I would say we have different artwork for the Cozy Up pod versus the Deep Clean Edit pod. I would say all the decor together, $300. Then we have things like our games. I have a little wheel over here that we play for games, $20. It's expensive. Then let's get into software. It's not like I just hit record, hit end, upload it to YouTube. Then I take the SD card. Oh, there we go. SD card, $60. Then I take the SD, put it into my computer. I use iMovie, free, thank God. I use iMovie, but on a $1,000 computer. Then when I'm finished editing, then I put it through a software called True, which is what I upload our Spotify and Apple Pod audio to. But I edit my audio on True, then I send it back to iMovie, but True is $20 a month. Then I send my Spotify audio to Buzzsprouts. Buzzsprouts is $20 to $30 a month. Then I have a website for our podcast, www.cozyupwithregs.com. I pay for a domain, which I want to say is $50 to $60 a year to keep your domain. Then all my cute little jingles for like our theme song comes from Soundstripe, and Soundstripe is $30 a month because it's royalty-free, copyright-free music, but you have to pay to have the rights to have it or to own it, or especially to use it for things like a theme song for a podcast. So $30 a month. Then I have Canva. I do all of my thumbnails on Canva, all of my promos on Canva, all of our there's CapCut, which is, I don't know, a $5 to $10 a month subscription. But then back to Canva. Then we have Canva, which I do all of our graphic design on. And I don't even remember. I want to say $10 to $20 a month as well. So it gets expensive. And it's not like you buy all those things all at once. I mean, this was all a progression. I mean, we started with no camera. We just started with an Amazon microphone and my computer. And then I wanted to upgrade. So then I got the Rode microphones. And then that was the first big purchase. But then we were doing it on my couch and everything was fine. But then we decided it's not fun to just do audio. We want to do video. We want to see you guys. We want you guys to see us. So then we had to decide to build a set and we had to decide to buy a camera. And then that's when all of those expenses came in. And then initially I was just using True, which was like $10 a month, whatever it was. But then once you added the video, then it was like you need to pay for the subscription for the graphic design and the audio and the theme songs and all of that. And it's like it was a slow progression, but it's an expensive progression. And it's worth every single penny because this truly brings me so much joy. When people ask me what my hobbies are, like, this is my hobby. This is what I do with all of my free time. This is where my brain goes with all of my free time. Like, I'm always thinking about episode ideas and things we can do and things we can talk about and things we can make better and fix. And, oh, I didn't like the lighting in the episode last week, so let's tweak the lighting for this week. And it's like little things you don't even think about. Like, you need to turn off the air conditioning and you make sure the house is empty and you make sure the dogs are settled. It's like, it's all the little things, but it's such an art and it's so much fun. I get so much joy out of this little pod, out of my little baby, the Cozy Up with Regan and Friends pod, and now the Deep Clean Edit. I just love it so much. And I think if you're going to do a podcast, you have to be fully aware of the commitment and the effort it will take, which is why I say all this, because I know that just sounds like a long list of bills and a long list of things you probably think you don't need, but trust and believe that as time goes on, you will realize that you need better lighting, or you want a better camera, or you need to tweak the set, or you have a weird blank spot that doesn't look nice, or you'll realize those things with time. Those are things you do need. What you don't need is you don't need a grand studio. Like, I'm behind my living room couch is right here. I am behind my living room couch on a blank wall. And this is our studio. It is so cute. It is so perfect. It's a little corner, a little nook of our home that we've made our studio, but we didn't need a whole grand studio with sound panels and fancy lighting. Like, no, you don't need all that. You also don't need 20,000 followers. You don't need 10,000 followers. Like, just start. You'll start and you'll build. Like, we have such a, like I said, I've mentioned it before, we have such like a cute little following, but we have loyal fans, and we love all of you guys, and we love when you talk to us about our pod or you mention something from the pod. And like, that's almost more fun than if we did have millions of followers. I mean, obviously that's the goal. I mean, that would be cool, but like, it's fun to have a small community and just start. If you want to start, just don't worry about the numbers. Just do it. And if you're truly like joyful and happy about it, it's going to radiate into your videos and people are going to want to watch your videos. And you don't need all of the fancy stuff on day one. I am a sucker for wanting it all right now at this moment. I want the best from the beginning. But unfortunately, one, my bank account didn't allow that. And two, that's just not the case. You don't always need that. Just like, don't let that stop you from starting. If you do want to start a pod and you think, well, I don't have this or I don't have that, like, that's okay. It's you don't need all of it to get started, and it'll come with time. When you get that big paycheck, or you get your tax refund, or you save enough money and you can finally get the better lights, and then you save enough money and you can finally upgrade your camera. That'll just come with time, and that's all that matters. The thing that no one tells you about a podcast is like how difficult it is to continually make and come up with content. I feel like a lot of times I feel like we're just a broken record, and I feel like we talk about the same things over and over, but we also do talk about the same things that people are interested in. But that is part of the commitment, is like, you have to sit and plan. Like, if I were to we tried when we first started the pod, we tried to do the whole just like, let's just sit down and see what happens. Nothing's going to happen, because you think you know how to talk and you think like, oh, I got it figured out. But when you have lights and a camera and a mic and you're talking to a wall, more or less, like, nothing flows out of the brain. Nothing natural flows out of the brain. You need an outline, you need an idea, and then from there you can let the conversation build. But you don't need a script by any means. Like, you don't want to sit here and let it be scripted. This whole episode is actually totally on a whim and unscripted, but I have a brief amount of notes down here that I'm going off of. But yeah, I think it's just important, like, you have to have a plan, but don't get so in your head about a plan because then it's not natural and it's rigid and nobody wants to watch that. And I also think another part of, your setup and your expenses and your equipment, accumulating over time, I think your brand will accumulate over time. I think it was really hard, and I thought when we started the pod that we needed like a basic idea. We needed something that was us. We needed like a niche thing. Like I said, like cozy up knits. So there's people who talk about cars, or there's people who talk about only relationships, or there's a lot of niches or niches, however you say it. But it's like those will develop and you'll see what the fans like or what reacts well or what gets views, and you can kind of play it from there. So don't feel like you need to have it all figured out. But I think also that said, it is important to have a direction. The direction of our podcast is we're all 20-year-old single girls in the dating world, post-college world, trying to navigate. We're like Sex in the City of a podcast. We're trying to like navigate new careers and men and the struggles and the things being thrown at us, like anxiety and, expectations. And like, that's like our realm. That's our theme. But I think you need to get a theme down or a general idea of what you want your podcast to be about down before you do hit record. I think it's important to mention the the I think it's important to mention the mental side of the podcast, and staying motivated. I know we first started the pod with a lot of fire. It was all audio. We were uploading to Spotify. It was like so fun. I would make my cute little like story reels to like go watch our new episode on Spotify and Apple Pod. And but at the beginning you can't get upset, or even now you can't get upset at low listens or low views. You're gonna have good weeks, you're gonna have bad weeks, because we've had fantastic weeks and we think we cracked the code and we think we're gonna skyrocket from here on out. And then the next week we'll get like 40 views and it'll be like, oh, okay, we're back to square one. Also, don't compare yourself to big podcasts. That's not going to do you any good. All that matters is your personality is different than their personality, and your information in your mind and how you process things and how you speak things out is going to be so different from a different person. So you cannot compare to a different podcast. And also, like on the other side of like the mental kind of aspect of a podcast is like, it's going to be a little awkward, but you can't let it stop you from promoting yourself. Like, the only way you're going to get views and a following and get people interested and let people know you're even there is you have to be able to promote yourself and your craft and your art and your podcast. You have to be able to be a salesman of sorts and advocate for it and believe in it. Because if you don't believe in it, nobody will. And I think that's something I've had to learn, because at first I was like, oh, it's just a silly little pod, because I don't want people to think I was clout chasing. But I do, like, I'm so proud of what I've created and what where this has gotten me, and it's helped my mental so much, and like it really is such an outlet for me. And I love talking about it. I love when people bring it up because it just makes me feel so like excited and proud. And another thing is, on top of motivation and staying motivated, is what keeps me going is the community and the fans and the support, and seeing people actually connect with the episode is probably the biggest form of motivation. Sometimes I feel like our episodes are heavy or repetitive, or like, people just want like something light and fun. But I think people do watch us and watch me and watch the Deep Clean because they want that like source of information. I hope people get something out of what we're recording and what we're talking about. I hope people learn from our struggles, because we all got plenty of struggles and we'll talk about them openly and honestly. And I hope that anyone listening maybe is feeling connected to us from that. And there's nothing that's more motivating to keep going and to keep editing and to keep doing the outlines and keep doing all of this, is when people are like, I loved that episode and I decided to think about this, or I changed how I did this because you said that, or, anything of that sort. That is like the biggest form of motivation. And I promise you, You might not get it right away, but with enough time and persistence, like you will start getting comments like that. Um, and then also important reminder, like it's okay to evolve your podcast. Don't feel like you're stuck in a box. Like start your podcast. Like I said, if you're thinking of doing it, just do it. Get started, hit record, press play, whatever. Get it going, get your feet on the ground, and then from there you'll learn all the little techniques and you'll learn what you like and what you don't like. And there's so many things I've changed and all behind the scenes that you wouldn't even notice that I changed. But to me, it's like a small, minute change that made a difference. And it's okay to evolve your podcast, and it's also okay to outgrow what you initially thought you wanted because, like you said, you might have something go really successful. You might have one video really take off or one episode. And you might think like, oh, maybe I need to touch on that more, and that's okay. Don't put yourself in a box because it's going to get really draining really, really fast. And then to wrap up today's short little mini episode, I just want to give you like a practical starter checklist. If you're watching this because you want to start a podcast, you're interested how we started a podcast, this is what we did. This was our starter pack, our starter checklist. This is how we just got our feet on the ground and took off, and we never looked back. Initially, of course, like you need to pick a name. You need to pick a name and you need to pick a vibe. You need to pick a theme. I mentioned that earlier. Picking a name can be hard. I was fortunate enough that the way I came up with the Cozy Up with Regan and Friends pod was because I had an embroidery business back in college called Cozy Up with Regan and Friends because I was doing like sweat sets, and I just figured like, you're cozied up with like a hoodie and, whatever. And so I had Cozy Up with Regan or I had Cozy Up by Regan, which was my embroidery business. And then when I was thinking of pod names, I was trying all these different things. I was like, you know what? Everyone knows me as Cozy Up with Regs or Cozy Up by Regs. Let's keep Cozy Up. Let's like Regan is the Cozy Up girl. So Cozy Up with Regan and Friends is what we came up with. So I was fortunate enough to kind of have a head start. But yeah, pick a name. ChatGPT is so useful. Utilize it. Use it. You know how often I use ChatGPT for like an episode outline or an episode idea? All the time. Use ChatGPT. So pick a name, pick a vibe. And then I would say record 1 or 2 episodes before you launch, because one of the biggest issues or one of the things that really can like put the fire out on your motivation is being overwhelmed with editing and just the time constraint. And if you get ahead an episode or 2, it helps alleviate that stress and helps make it a much more enjoyable experience. So I would say do 1 or 2 episodes. A lot of times you might even scratch the first episode just because the first episode you're really just like learning the row, I don't know, I don't remember. But yeah, record 1 or 2 episodes, decide on your schedule. It's important to have a schedule, to have structure, because once again, it's very easy to let yourself slip and become unmotivated. Me and the girls have a very set schedule. We know when we're recording, when I'm going to edit, when I'm going to upload, the timeline of things I need to get done within the week. So decide your schedule, decide when you want to post, and be consistent. Consistency is key to all things good in the entertainment world. Be consistent, pick a day and stick with the day. Don't just say 2 times a month and pick a random day, or don't post on Wednesday and then you post again on Saturday, but then you don't post for 2 weeks on a Tuesday. Just like be consistent. We post every Thursday, and now with the Deep Clean Edit, we post every other Monday. Just be consistent. It'll make a difference. It'll also make a difference with your following and with your fans and with your supporters. And then in today's day and age, you need to make an Instagram account, you make a TikTok, you need to make some kind of social media to promote yourself and to promote your show and to promote you need a platform to be able to advertise what you're offering, to advertise snippets, to make reels, it's essential. That's also essential for growth and for a following. You need to have that platform. And then at the end of the day, just post it. Don't think about it too often. Edit it, take your time, be creative, get fun, but then post it and see what happens, because you just never know. And here I am 2 years later, 2.5 years later now, 2 years, sorry. 2 years since starting this thing, and I just am having the most fun I've ever had. And it's so, I can never think of the words I want when I need them. It's so gratifying, or it's just satisfying. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it is so worth every second that I sit here doing this. And I cannot wait to look back at all of these videos. I can't wait for 30 years from now. And if I'm still doing this, awesome. But more than likely I won't be. And I will have these beautiful time capsules or these memories or these stories or these laughs or just this vision for me, my kids, my grandkids to all watch someday. So at the end of the day, just post your video, post your episode, get your thoughts out there. Who knows? There might be people out there who think exactly like you and have been waiting for someone to do a podcast in that way. You just never know. You never know what might happen. But yeah, if you're thinking about starting a pod, just do it. I've said that before. I'll say it again. Just do it. Just start it and worry about everything else later. You don't need the fanciest equipment. You don't need, you do need a couple things. Like you need a microphone, whether it's a microphone, whether it's a headset, whether if you're close enough to your camera, or your phone, you could probably get like an extender. They're cheap on Amazon. You don't have to spend $800, $1,000, $2,000. You don't have to do that right off the bat. You also don't have to have all the software and the audio editing and all of that. You don't have to have any of that right away. With time, I'm sure you're going to want it, but don't let that stop you. We need to normalize the messy start. Look at the beautiful start. I love looking back at how we started and where we started. We started with these dinky little microphones sitting at my dining room table. And now I have my whole beautiful little studio with my setup, with everything exactly how I would want it. It's just so fun. It's so perfect. And we started, me, Jay, and Maddie all started with zero idea of what we were doing. And honestly, we still don't. Usually it's like the day before we're recording and we're like, what are we recording? What are we talking about? What are we doing? We figure it out. We pull it together. We get a quick little outline together, but it's okay to not know what you're doing because I still don't. And that's just the beauty of this. That's the beauty of a podcast. You can talk about whatever you want or not talk about whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. It's your platform. It's your thing. Just let it happen. Just let it be natural, have fun with it, and just see where it goes. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is just like a random little niche kind of episode. I don't like if you enjoy it or if you're still listening, thank you for listening. And if you tuned out a long time ago, I understand, I suppose. But no, I think everyone can benefit from finding a hobby. At the end of the day, find a hobby, find something that makes you happy. And if you're thinking about doing a podcast and you think that this might be where your creative juices are leading you, like do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. That's all I can say. So come back in 2 weeks for another episode of the Deep Clean Edit, where we deep clean our hearts, souls, and minds one episode at a time. Love ya.